levels. Well, the chief of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, Hossein Salami, who was also killed in the strikes. There are reports that a number of Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists have also been killed. Israel has declared an emergency situation across the country. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says Israel will receive, quote, harsh punishment. The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned against any retaliation by Iran on US positions in the Middle East. Tohid Asadi joins us from the site of one of those attacks in Tehran. But Tohid, these strikes have not been restricted to the capital, have they?
No, they haven't. And here, as you said, I'm at the site of one of the explosions, one of the strikes. And I had a chance to talk to people in the neighborhood. They're saying that this building that you can see behind me, and around 4 hours after the strike took place, still smoke comes out of this building. And this building belongs to university professors. And the latest update is that Dr. Tehranchi, the president of Azad University, who is a well-known nuclear scientist, has been assassinated in this strike, in this particular scene at which we are, and there are further civilian casualties, specifically speaking of this scene, and also speaking of other scenes, the footage of which is coming out. And we know that he is not the only nuclear scientist assassinated. Also, Feridun Abbasi, who is a former member of parliament, a former head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, was also assassinated. And the domain of assassinations is not limited to nuclear scientists. We know that very important figures, military figures, have been assassinated in these strikes, most important of which I can refer to Hossein Salami, who is the commander, the chief commander of IRGC, as well as now reports coming about the assassination of Mohammad Bagheri, who is the chief of staff for Iran's armed forces, alongside with other military top officials that are reported to be either assassinated or injured. And we know that there are several locations across the city. The initial reports said it was 6, let's say, scenes, but now we know that there is a possibility for other scenes inside the Iranian capital to be targeted, including civilian and military targets. Among the most important of military targets, I can refer to the headquarters of IRGC, reportedly targeted. And also, if we go beyond the capital, Tehran, we have reports about the sounds of massive explosions being heard from different cities across the country, most important of which I can refer to Natanz, a town which hosts one of the most important nuclear enrichment facilities of the country. And of course, this is a critically important, unprecedented development. Nothing similar has been seen over the past few years and decades when it comes to already escalated situation between Iran and Israel. And obviously, there is going to be consequence down the road. The Iranian Supreme Leader, as you mentioned, came out in a statement saying that Israelis are going to face tough punishment, and the quote-unquote strong hands of Iran's armed forces are going to face them with bitter destiny. That's what we heard from the Iranian Supreme Leader, but other Iranian officials are coming out with very strong statements, and that happens within the context of adoption of a resolution by the Board of Governors of IAEA. While this was a very negative step from Iranian perspective, there was still a very slight amount of hope that this entire nuclear issue and the challenges that some of Western countries are raising against Iran's program could be settled down via diplomatic trajectory. But now the situation, I would say, is 100% different. If that resolution was a sort of injury to diplomatic affairs of the country, now this is, as what I can say, a headshot to Iran's diplomatic affairs when it comes to engagement with the United States and other Western countries, obviously there is going to be a possibility of further and further escalation, as Iran is saying that it's going to retaliate. And let's keep in mind that compared to the previous strike that you mentioned back in October, the scale is unbelievably extensive. The targets are much more sensitive, and we are anticipating a strong retaliation from the Iranian side. But still, we have to keep waiting to see what's going to take place. And this is a very important moment that we are experiencing right now, with consequences not only for Iran, but also most probably for the entire region.
Tohid, this is unprecedented, as you say, and we can see some of the damage caused by one of those strikes behind you there. What is the feeling on the ground there among the population over these attacks?
Yes, I had a chance to talk to people. A lot of them were here, and they were very sad. They're very angry. Their expectation was that if such a strike happens, it would be military targets to be targeted, to be hit. But the reality on the ground and the different footages are coming out, indicating the very fact that it is not limited to military targets. It goes very much beyond that. It targets civilians. I saw a lady weeping, crying badly, saying that one of the family members of hers was in this building that you can see behind me. And this building is for university professors. And Dr. Tehranchi was one of the professors there. Their other might be or might not be related to Iran's nuclear program. They are civilians. Footages came out from one of the scenes from which we saw bodies of women and children coming out of the scene, which means that it is targeting civilian targets. And that is something that has created a lot of anger among people if we speak to them. And we see it not only among the citizens in Tehran, but also in social media. We see a lot of negative feedback. And now there was a sort of anti-Israeli sentiment among some of the people here because of this long history of assassinations and cyber attacks, etc., etc., a lot of obnoxious behaviors from the Israeli side towards Iran. But right now, this feeling ramps up, and you can clearly see signs of anger, signs of, let's say, sadness, signs of mourning among the Iranians when it comes to this recent developments.
Yes, a lot of anger there, as you say, in this heightened situation. Well, Noor O'Day is back with us now from Oman. Noor, what is the Israeli Prime Minister's justification for this unprecedented attack?